I'm going to just set this right here. Hopefully you can see me. Making myself a smoothie. So, somebody asked me, your brother actually, left a comment on my last video and asked what I thought was the best martial arts to marry with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Now, I think when he asked this question, he thought that my answer was going to be something along the lines, like he was asking something along the lines of boxing, wrestling, boxing, taekwondo, whatever. But what I'm going to tell him is, or what I would say, is that the best thing, or my plan, I believe, to marry with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is wrestling, because wrestling is something that, although you think if you got Jiu-Jitsu that you got wrestling, but you don't. And I don't mean wrestling as in takedowns, I mean positional wrestling, positional grappling, being able to fight for the top position, being able to win scrambles, being able to use your base, use your weight. When you practice in wrestling, you get a different type of grappling mentality that you don't gain from jiu-jitsu. So I think it's important to have your kid, if you're interested in having your kid be a well-rounded grappler just in general, I think that's something that's going to help. I think that's something that's important not to overlook, the importance of wrestling. I think it's easy to think that if you got jiu-jitsu, you're fine, but I think wrestling is really, really important to focus on. That's something I'm trying to focus on more now, later in life, now that I'm 24. But when it comes to striking, I believe that, so I'm under the mindset, I'm going to start my kid off first in gymnastics. I believe that that's a good base to do gymnastics, some sort of capoeira type thing, where you have a lot of, hold on, I need to take a bite of one of these goddamn kiwis. Oh, so good. But do gymnastics, something that gives you what's called kinesthetic sense, which means the ability to be aware of your body in space while you manipulate it through space. So, gymnastics, if you were someone who's good at gymnastics, I could essentially teach you every taekwondo kick in a day. Now, you're not going to be able to land the kicks, but on just having to do them side by side, you probably wouldn't be able to tell the difference between the taekwondo master and the gymnast just from them doing the technique. But it's going to be the actual application of the technique, being able to land the technique. So, your brother left a comment. Now, your brother is the name of the person on YouTube. But your brother left a comment asking, what do you think would be the best discipline to marry with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu? So, I believe that you start off with wrestling. Outside of wrestling, which I think just to get a full gambit of grappling understanding. So just like with striking, you can do kickboxing, you can do Muay Thai, you can do Taekwondo, but you're not going to be a full-rounded striker. So I think if you want to become a full-rounded individual, then yeah, I think you start them at Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu first, because Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu has a lot. Then you take them into wrestling, because wrestling also has a lot. You give those two as the base, give that as a grappling base. Then if you're going to start into some sort of striking art, I think it's between boxing and Taekwondo. Boxing and Taekwondo, and both of them are iffy, because boxing, it depends on the gym you have, because you might have a gym where they spar too hard, and you don't want to have your child sparring really hard from a young age, I don't believe. Taekwondo is also kind of iffy, because you might have a gym where it's really not realistic, where the sparring, not necessarily just the sparring, but maybe the things they're doing aren't realistic. You got a McDojo, and you're not actually going to be learning anything, and your child isn't going to be learning anything. So I think that's important too. But just when it comes to styles, let's say you have the perfect boxing gym, the perfect Taekwondo gym, the perfect Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu gym in front of you, then I believe that you start your kid off in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, so that they have an understanding of what you do when you're on your back, and so that they start to build an understanding of flow and being able to grapple deep, deep, deep into their muscle memory, deep into their tissue. Then you progress into wrestling, because while they're young, so that you can get those drills where you're flipping each other, throwing each other. You can do those takedowns over and over again, be comfortable with it while you're young, while there's not that much what's consequences for what happens because you're so little. If you get thrown around or whatever, probably not going to get broken or anything like that. Then I would probably start some sort of, I would say, Taekwondo, traditional martial arts, something like that, when they're, I don't know, I would start something like that when they're young as well. So that might be the first striking thing that I introduce, would be Taekwondo, karate. Because for me, I believe that you get those things young while their hips are still plastic, and that's going to allow them to keep their hip mobility, to keep their hip flexibility, and that's going to allow them to have a different range of movement that most people can't develop if they start kicking after, I don't know, maybe I'll say 25, because maybe before 25 you can still get it. And then I would say maybe in his teens start him into boxing, something that to give him just a full, like I said, to be well-rounded. When you say well-rounded, people think that just means striking and grappling. No, there's well-roundedness in wrestling. There's well-roundedness in jiu-jitsu. There's well-roundedness in grappling, and there's well-roundedness in boxing, and there's well-roundedness within that sport, because within that sport there's different styles and such. So like when it comes to wrestling, maybe you're a upper body type wrestler, maybe you're a lower body type wrestler. When it comes to jiu-jitsu, maybe you're a leg lock type guy, maybe you're a armbar type guy, or a stack pass type guy, or whatever. When it comes to boxing, maybe you're a point fighter, maybe you're a pressure fighter. When it comes to Taekwondo, maybe you like to do a lot of spin kicks, maybe you like to use a lot of points and do side kicks and stuff on the outside, maybe you like to do hook kicks. Like, there's all these different things, but when you just look at it as Taekwondo, you just see it as one big thing, and you don't realize that within Taekwondo, within boxing, within all those things, there's all these different styles. To bring this all around, put a little bow on it, so I think it's important to start off maybe Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, get the understanding of grappling, wrestling, get more well-rounded grapplingness, Taekwondo, so that you can have the fluidity, get that when you're young, so that you can do all those crazy kicks, and so that they're deep ingrained into your muscle memory, deep into your neurons. And then you get the boxing, so that as you're a little older, maybe you're 14, 13, you're still young enough where the impact hopefully isn't causing, the impact isn't killing each other, because you're still young. But at that age, that's where you can start getting those shark rounds in and becoming a more gritty individual, and with the wrestling, becoming a more gritty individual, getting that footwork, getting that boxing timing, so that by the time you're 18, 20, you're a well-rounded practitioner. Us, thank you. That's my idea. If you guys like these things, please like and share. I'll try to do more videos like this. Your brother left me a comment down below, and I'll try to do more things where if you leave me a comment, I'll say your name, say who left the comment, and I'll try to make a little video talking about it, stuff like that. I'll try to do more of these. I have another video coming out soon. If you guys saw the last one, please like, please share. All those things help out so much. I'm losing subs every day, so anything you guys can do to help helps out, man. Thanks. Peace.